Southern Indiana.
Welcome to Southern Indiana Now. You found the podcast that explores life in Southern Indiana. So whether you're new to the area or just kind of want to know what's happening in and around the Southern Indiana area, you found the right podcast. Today, we're so excited to dive deep into some flavors. And of course, we're digging into the rich food and drink history that, we could literally do this show for hours. But today, we're going to start focusing on our special guest. Our first guest, actually, is with Mary & K Spices. We're visiting this morning with Cordell Reed, and we're going to dive right into all things Mary & K. I tell you what, we are so excited to have you on the show today. Why don't you give everybody the background of Mary & K Spices and all the fun things that come in your world and how long you guys have been around and all the fun stuff about spices.
Okay. It started as a kind of a good story. My grandfather actually dropped out of high school when he was 16.
Okay.
He had worked in a back end of the drugstore, filling orders or whatever, and he learned to make vanilla in the back of the drugstore. And he decided to go out on his own, take his wares on the road, and he had a formulation that he redeveloped to do the vanilla. Went door to door originally back in 1922. So we've got 103 years going here with the same family-owned business in Brownstown, but from that little beginning in St. Louis, and then he moved to St. Louis, Springfield, and then he moved to St. Louis after he got too big. He actually had a place of business where he could manufacture and then keep his sales team on the road. So it's come full circle. We made through the Depression. He survived the whole thing through that, and then moved the company in Brownstown in 1949. He found a building that was empty. It used to be the Thompson Sled Factory for the local people that might have known that.
Okay.
So the Thompson Flyers. But so we've been in Brownstown since 49, and we're more into the dry seasonings that come with custom blending nowadays that we were a little bit different from the extracts, how we started.
So tell me a little bit about what is the spice that has kind of been consistent through all those over 100 plus years?
Honestly speaking, it has to be our black pepper as the one seasoning.
Okay.
In 1949, he decided to travel the world to find out where the best black pepper came from, what were the best growing regions for that particular spice. He found it in the coast of India, which is a Malabar coast, which has Tellicherry bold and also the Malabar pepper. And we've stuck to that particular brand because it's about 4.5% oil content. You know how tomatoes in Indiana are different than some in Texas, so Indiana gets a lot of say they have really good tomatoes in this area. Mm-hmm. Same with pepper. The growing region is perfect for the pepper that is produced in India. So we consistently to this day only use the Malabar pepper in all of our blends, and pepper goes in everything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's whether you sprinkle it on, but it's in every single blend we do as well.
That's amazing. So as far as like what is in your pantry, what are some of your top selling seasonings? And if someone's listening to the program, not from the area, maybe that they've never cooked with Mary & K Spices, what are some of the top must-haves? And then what are some must-haves that you have in your pantry?
Well, the must-haves of some of our blends would be our chicken seasoning, which is known to be connected with the kernel, which is true. And then we also have a really good fish breading that is under the J.R. Mads label that we use, which is still Mary & K. You can never go wrong with our cinnamon. It's a 5% oil content, ground fresh daily. So we bring it in the whole form and grind it. And then we have our dominant one, Chef Secret blends and Cajun seasonings. And we still have our pure vanilla extract as well, but it's just we've grown so much in the dry end that it kind of gets left behind, but it's still a staple.
Well, speaking of how you've grown over the years, what goes into the process of developing your new blends? I know you have some that I have to have dominant one in my cabinet. I mean, that's one that I never run out of. That's for me. But I tell you, I think what goes into, hey, what inspires you to make all these different seasoning blends that you've done so well with at Mary & K?
Well, we do have our base. We have about 4 key base formulas, and they have different flavor profiles. So for chicken seasoning, for instance, we have our own secret blend combination of spices. Okay. That's the beginning of a base of seasonings put together. When you take that and you put it into something else as a base and recreate that, it has such a good level starting point that it can only improve from there. So we start with some of the information we had before. Now, we're into custom blending for restaurant food service accounts and things. So chefs can come to me and say, hey, we want to do a particular blend for Asian food or Creole, stuff like that.
Right.
Sometimes they can give you a sample and we can work off that, making it with our superior spices. We might have to alter the formula even if they had the exact same one. So really we just, we kind of listen to the chefs, kind of coordinate with them what the trends are out there and try to reformulate some new seasonings to get that done.
So what's a must-have in your pantry? Like what do you can't stand to live without?
Okay, I have to have the black pepper, of course, without doubt, the cinnamon, but then I also have to have the dominant one, if you will, and then I also have to have one that's not really on the board is our onion pepper. It's got a combination.
I've not seen that one.
It's a combination. It's just good for everything. It's just I put that in all my soup and our chicken seasoning as well. So.
I love that. So tell me, I know this is still much of a family operation. You have a lot of family that's still part of that. Where do you kind of see the future of Mary & Kay Spices growing?
We want to continue our business to grow in the restaurant food service, keeping our grassroots with the fundraising programs that was founded by our company that we do for local groups, things of that sort. We want to increase those sales. Chefs' ego sometimes, when they find us and they use our stuff and they've been somewhere else, they almost demand that they use their Mary & Kay seasonings down the line. So the chefs recognize our quality. So we're going to try to build on the custom blending and restaurant food service mostly as we move forward.
I love that. So if someone wants to take advantage of buying some spices, getting started, it almost needs to be in every Welcome to Indiana kit, I think. But
that would be a good idea.
That would be a good idea. Maybe a sideline business. What's the best way to get connected with Mary & Kay Spices? How do they get an order together? How does all that work?
If you order online, you could order direct to yourself with maryandkay.com. You can, and they have a lot of information of how to go through whether you wanted restaurant food service, fundraising, or direct to you. Or they give us a call because we still do things the old-fashioned way. We have somebody live answer the phone, and it won't take long to get an answer.
All right. Well, thanks so much for being our special guest today, and we'll keep it right here to Southern Indiana Now. And we're back for another episode of Southern Indiana Now. Kelly Trask hanging out with you with one of the crowd favorites, of course, Sean Malone with Seymour Brewing Company. We want to have Sean on as part of our food and drink episode. So much to say. He definitely has food and drink cornered over there. And if you haven't been to Brooklyn Pizza Company or Seymour Brewing Company, I'm going to get it right one of these days. You've definitely got to add it to your list of something to do for 2025, and you're going to want to do it often because there's so much. Your taste buds are going to explode when you head over there because he's literally got everything cornered. So, Sean, speaking of that, I know we are excited to talk about, you got some new things happening at Seymour Brewing Company. You guys have some firsts. Let's talk about it.
For the first time ever in Jackson County's history, we are the first ever licensed distillery in Jackson County. So,
congratulations.
Thank you. It's been a long time, a lot of federal paperwork, state paperwork.
A lot of paperwork, I'm sure.
Yeah, but we're here and we're doing it. So actually today is our first day that we'll have something available for our guests, and we're bringing out a Jackson County mule.
I love it.
And we're featuring Jackson County corn farmed by our Jackson County farmers, and we're turning that into a Jackson County corn whiskey. And so it's original and it's a first.
Yeah, that's exciting. So thinking about that and all the things all the heart that's gone into that, of course, you've on the Seymour Brewing side, then you have Brooklyn Pizza side too. So let's talk about that. But let's get into on the brewing side of it. What made you want to go down this path?
Sure. Started Brooklyn Pizza April 1st, 2006. So I think this is our 19th year anniversary coming up, which is crazy. There was always a desire to.
I don't have any clue what the official gift is for that. So
hopefully it's gold.
Hopefully it's money someday, right?
Yeah, hopefully the train's coming.
Yeah.
So I always wanted to create. And so I never had a desire to put a domestic beer on tap. I didn't really want to go that route. So we waited, and it took us 12 years in business before we were able to secure a brewmaster. My friend Rich Metter. Rich and I grew up together. He's a Seymour boy. And we're able to bring him on and create all these different ales and stouts and porters and different things that we wanted to showcase what we can do in house,
Yeah.
and that's what we've been able to do now for almost 8 years.
Well, I love it. When someone's listening to this show or watching it, I want them to get a flavor of what life is like in Southern Indiana, what makes
Yeah.
us unique, and all the different traditions. And I would say that, of course, you mentioned that your beer is going to feature Jackson County corn. Tell me some other secrets, as thoughts of things that
Yeah.
have gone into that kind of help localize it to the Southern Indiana region.
So being in this great farming region, we're able to utilize lots of different things, from basil that's grown right here, and lots of honey. So we have lots of great beekeepers
Yeah.
here in Jackson County, and we try to use as much of that local stuff from blackberries and basil to local honey. You'll see those things in all of our different beers.
Yeah, I love that. Thinking about some seasonal beers, some flavors that you might be playing around with, anything that you can give us kind of a, hey, coming soon, you
Sure.
heard it
So
here
we're-
first type thing.
Coming up with the warmer weather, thank goodness, we do a jalapeno honey cream ale. And we're
Okay.
able to use jalapenos from Van Antwerp's grown right here, and then honey from Brian Hessing out at Honeytown Apiary. So people love that beer. And then as well as some local holy basil
Yeah.
into a basil lemon cream ale.
Okay.
That's just really phenomenal.
I don't know. I don't know how you just
Yeah.
don't have all kinds of fun with all
We're
the
having
food
a lot
and
of
flavors.
fun down there.
Yeah.
I always said it's a good thing I don't make bourbon and Oreos, or I might have a problem. But now we're starting to get into that bourbon world.
I
So
was gonna say,
um,
you're not far off.
yeah,
it, Sean.
we'll see if we can stay
You
out
li-
of
yeah.
the Oreo business. We'll be okay. So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Well, especially speaking not just on the beer side, but you've got the pizza side too. And I'd be
Yeah.
remiss if we didn't talk about the pizza. So you've done a
Yeah.
lot of things, coming up with some different types of pizzas. Let's talk about what's been popular here from a regional standpoint and what you see
Sure.
kind of coming down the pike.
Sure. We utilize different local food artists as well, from taking some junkyard barbecue pulled pork, adding that to some of our pizzas, to local farmer and teacher of the year Gerald Hubbard, who has grown
Yeah.
a bunch of great blackberries. And so this year we created the Riz, we called it, and it is a blackberry pizza with blackberries, fresh blackberries, gorgonzola cheese, applewood smoked bacon. Pretty crazy. And
Wow.
we took it to competition out of 33 pizzerias this year, from Indiana, Ohio, Kentucky. We were 5th place. We were pretty
Okay.
proud of that. It was such a unique pizza, and people just really loved it.
Is that seasonal or can we get it now?
So I'll tell you this, we can get it now. Right now we're having to bring in blackberries, but as soon as the season jumps back in,
Yeah.
we're going back to local blackberries as fast as we can.
So I know you have the opportunity to eat your pizza whenever you want. So what is your favorite? Like if I want to order the Sean Malone favorite,
Sure.
what am I getting on my pizza?
It's still our all meat pizza.
The all meats. Okay.
that's my
Carnivore.
favorite. Yeah, carnivore. It's pepperoni, sausage, ground beef, and applewood smoked
Yeah.
bacon. And so we've recently reached out to a local Jackson County farmer, and we're able to process a beef and able to use local ground beef now. And that's
Yeah.
been a big thing.
We're back on Southern Indiana Now. And of course, we are talking with Sean Malone for our Who's Your Good News segment. And Sean has a heart for others. And of course, he's used his business and his gifts and the blessings that he's had over the years to give back in lots of different ways. And definitely wanted to showcase Sean and his heart and all the things that he's been doing. And that way you can get connected to that. So when you are dining at Brooklyn Pizza or Seymour Brewing Company or any of the other names that he has that connects food and drink in Southern Indiana, you know what you're doing it with a purpose. And that's what we want to make sure that we're connecting the dots. So when you're listening to this podcast from wherever you're listening from, you have a big taste that, hey, these people have a lot of heart in Southern Indiana. And so we want to showcase that right now. We're going to talk with Sean. Sean, I know you've built an amazing business and you keep continuing to grow, but you also keep continuing to find ways to give back. So could you mind to share your story and some of the ways that you are able to do that from personally and professionally?
Sure. I think I was raised in a home where everybody in my family were servants, and so we have a servant's heart. And I think especially my grandmother put that on us when we were younger. And so when I got into the food business, I just kind of said, okay, if I'm going to do this and I'm going to receive these blessings, then I need to make sure that I am a blessing to my community. And so we started a program 14 years ago with some friends of ours, Bubba and Jess Diarco, and we started feeding people in our community. That first year, it was around 300 people. It's grown as big as 2,000 people, and we
Wow.
feed people on Christmas Day. While others are getting up and unwrapping presents, we're cooking.
Yeah.
So it's truly a blessing though to be a part of it, and it takes so many volunteers. So I think the biggest thing for me is to be able to provide a facility where other people learn philanthropy, and where they can bring their kids and show them what it looks like to give before we get. To do that on Christmas Day is a blessing to not only the volunteers and myself and my wife Jennifer and Jess and Bubba DiArco, but a huge blessing throughout our community. And we go all over, just all over Jackson County.
Yeah.
So
Sean, I know others can look to you because you're such a role model. And so when people want to model maybe how a lot of people own businesses, and a lot of people are doing a lot of awesome things with their companies, and they're providing great services and products for Southern Indiana area. So no matter where you're watching or listening is from, how can you take what you're doing and apply that servant's heart towards it so you're able to give back? Is there a certain model to follow? Is it just looking for opportunities, being open? What kind of advice would you give maybe a business owner to kind of say, hey, no matter what business you're doing, you can always find ways to give back and to grow that portion of it?
Sure. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord.
Yeah.
Right. And so we put God first, and then he kind of puts everything else into place for us. I can just say, be open to possibilities, and they'll present themselves. And that's usually how we find ourselves being helpful.
Yeah, because chances are someone in any industry knows somebody that can use some help.
Absolutely.
So if someone's listening and want to get connected to your program that you do at Christmas, and I know that's just one day a year, Sean. I know you do way more than that. So you're very humble. But if there's a way to like to connect to some of your efforts, and maybe like, hey, I can donate X, Y, and Z. What's the best way to reach out to you? Or is it under a certain program name?
Under JacksonCountyChristmasMeals.org is how you can donate yearly throughout the project. We are working with Tanner Belcher from CPR.
Yeah.
And Tanner and I are putting up a food menu board where you can come in and just donate meals to people. That's nothing new. People have been doing that all over the place. But it's nice to be able to provide meals for people on a daily throughout our community. Yeah. And so you can stop by Brooklyn Pizza anytime. Okay. And help with that project.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, definitely check out that website, find out how you can get connected. So no matter what your profession is, if you want to be part of Who's Your Good News, that's a good way to start. And you can get connected with that website and just maybe donate one meal, even if it's just one meal a year. That's more than they had as of before the show. So definitely check them out. And of course, if you'd like to have some suggestions on Who's Your Good News, you can submit them to our website at southernIndianaNow.com. To have Carrie Steinweg with us, author of Unique Eats and Eateries in Indiana, and she's had the fortunate job. I need to figure out how to get this job, Carrie, of touring different locations and eateries in Southern Indiana and just kind of finding out all the hidden gems. So first of all, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for joining us. And let's talk a little bit about your book and where people can find a copy, number one. And then as you've done your travels, tell us about maybe some unique eateries and different locations of restaurants that you've enjoyed in Southern Indiana.
Very excited to share this book project. This time a year ago, I was making my way all over the state and just eating, doing long trips where I'd hit maybe 4 to 6 places a day and just eat. So yeah, it's a very tough job, but somebody's got to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
The book is available through the publisher's site at readypress.com. You can also find it at barnesandnoble.com and Amazon, and then at a lot of different book retailers and gift shops around the state as well. Been travel writing for 25 years.
Tell me about some of the places you visited in Southern Indiana and what were some of your favorites?
It's a well-known spot, West Baden Springs Hotel. That I would say is one definite gem, is to go there and dine at Ballard's in the atrium. The place is amazing. It's got at one time had the largest freestanding dome in the world, over a century old. Seeing the interior dome is something that everybody just needs to experience at least once. And so having the chance to go there and dine inside the atrium is quite an experience, and the food is wonderful.
And tell me about maybe an eatery or someplace that you enjoyed in Southern Indiana that kind of encapsulates what it means to be a Hoosier.
Sure. It's so hard to pinpoint one, because I think that's kind of a misconception about Indiana, is that, okay, it's all just Southern, comfort food and pork tenderloins, and that's all there is, because there's such a diverse food culture around the state, and that's kind of what's so beautiful about it, is there's so many different ethnic cuisines and farm to table and just such a variety in the state. One that I would say is a great representation of kind of the history and a great place to get a meal is the Schnitzelbank in Jasper. Checking out what they had there, trying out the German cuisine. It's not always about the food, it's about the experience. One other thing I would recommend is Bloomington. They have like a neat restaurant row there where it's just within a couple of blocks. You can get so many different ethnic cuisines there.
Well, thanks so much, Carrie, for spending time with us this morning. If you'd like to get a copy of her book, you can do that. It's called Unique Eats and Eateries in Indiana. We'll be right back. Hey, just want to say thanks for listening to Southern Indiana Now. We are so excited to launch this podcast, excited for you to be a part of it. If you have some suggestions on things you would like to see part of the show, maybe some specific topics that you want to cover, we can do the deep dives here. That's what this show is all about. And of course, I need to remind you about some Hoosier happenings, some things going on in and around the area. I've got the Jackson County Community Theater coming up with a dinner theater show, and that's coming up here at the end of the month. You can also learn about the history of the Underground Railroad in New Albany. The Second Baptist Church is going to be giving tours for that. And of course, you can head over to Madison and pour your own candle at Hartman Poured for a singles candle pouring workshop. That's going to be super fun. You can check all that out. All kinds of things happening in and around Southern Indiana. Make sure you stay right here. You can download the podcast wherever podcasts are available, or you can check out YouTube or our website, southernindiananow.com. Either way, we want to stay connected to you. We'll be back here next week for an episode. Be here for it.